Good morning.
Mom, do animals go to heaven?
Wow, what a great question. How about if I take you, Sarah, and Jacob to a place that's very special and I'll tell you the story on the way there?
Really? That'd be so fun. I'm gonna go call them right now.
Okay, kids, let's get buckled up, and on the way there, I will tell you the story of Noah and the ark.
Good thing we're not giraffes, huh?
Did you know that Yah is the Hebrew name for God? Imagine if God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, told you to build the biggest boat in the world. Would you build it? You would probably shake your head and say, "No way, that's impossible. I could never build something like that." Well, Yah gave a man called Noah those very instructions, and even though Noah didn't understand his big plan, he said yes. You see, God saw that people on earth had become very wicked. They stole from each other, they worshipped angels, and mixed animals together to make strange new species. God was not pleased. This was not what he had created. A race of fearsome giants called the Nephilim had appeared on the earth. There were children of bad angels and human women. The Nephilim were mean and nasty. The earth had become too violent, said Yah. I am sorry that I ever made man. He came up with a plan to wipe out everything on earth and begin again. But Noah had a great relationship with God. He didn't behave how other people behaved. He was faithful and obedient. One day, God said to him, "People are not following my ways. I'm going to flood the earth and start again." Noah couldn't believe his ears. God was going to destroy everything? He must think the earth is pretty wicked, thought Noah. God had more to say. I want you to build an ark. It needs to be a boat big enough to fit lots of animals. Build it 300 cubits long, 30 cubits high, and 50 cubits wide. Then cover it in pitch. Noah scratched his beard. This boat was going to be enormous. He looked up at the bright blue sky. What was God up to? You see, Noah didn't know what rain was. He'd never fallen asleep to the sound of raindrops splashing on his roof. He didn't even own a raincoat. When God created the earth, he made a mist that rose from the ground and watered the plants. Why would water need to fall from the sky? What about my wife and family? Asked Noah. Will you spare them like the animals? My flood will destroy everything, replied God, but you have nothing to worry about. I will keep you and your family safe. Noah breathed a sigh of relief. He loved his family, but he was still curious. After all, he'd never built an ark before. Follow my instructions, said God. I will tell you what to do. Noah and his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, were very smart. They knew how to make things, many things. They chopped down trees for the hull and carved stones for the anchors. They made nails out of iron and mixed huge barrels of thick tar to help everything stick together. When everything was finally ready, they began to build the ark. Noah and his sons carefully followed God's instructions. Every day the ark grew bigger and bigger. Noah's neighbors stared in fascination at the gigantic boat. They had never seen a boat so big. Did God really tell you to build this ark? They laughed. You're wasting your time, you old fool. Noah glared at his neighbors. If you put your faith in God, you can join us, he replied. But his neighbors continued to mock him and would not listen. We don't need God for anything, they said. We have the angels to guide us. Noah and his sons ignored their laughter and continued building the ark. They built 3 decks for the animals and put in a special door to walk through. They built themselves cozy rooms to sleep in and added a big window so it wouldn't get too smelly. Lastly, they built a wooden roof and covered the ark in a sticky black pitch to make it waterproof. Finally, the ark was finished. The men put down their tools and gazed up at the mighty boat. What an awesome boat, said Shem. Have you ever seen anything so big? Little did Shem and his family know what an extraordinary adventure awaited them. God said to Noah, take every kind of food into the ark for you and the animals. Noah did exactly what God said. He collected dried fruits, vegetables, and fish for his family and grain and hay for the animals. Noah's wife had been preparing meals for years, so she knew they had plenty to eat. Now, said God, Take your entire family inside the ark and get ready. I will gather the animals and bring them to you." Noah's family shivered with excitement. What had God planned next? They picked up their belongings and carried them into the ark, and Noah waited for the animals to arrive. Soon, thousands of animals gathered in front of the ark, pushing and shoving each other for position. They growled and they squawked and they grunted. Imagine how noisy it was. Noah's mouth dropped open. There were so many strange animals he'd never seen before. "Where do I start?" cried Noah as he buried his face in his hands. He was very thankful for God's help. "Take 7 pairs from every kind of clean bird and animal," said God. "From every kind of unclean animal, only take 1 pair. After 7 days, I am going to send water on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights." Noah stood in front of the ark and counted the animals. He chose 7 pairs from every kind of clean animal. Every kind of unclean animal, he chose only 1 pair, just as God had told him. Then he took the animals up the ramp and into the ark. There were giraffes and elephants, anteaters and armadillos, cats and monkeys and bears and hippos. When the animals were all inside, God shut the door. None of Noah's neighbors were on the ark. They had all chosen to do things their own way. Suddenly, the sky turned dark. Thunder rumbled through the thick black clouds, and lightning streaked across the murky gray sky. The floodgates of heaven opened, and it began to rain. It rained and rained and rained. Noah's friends and neighbors stared into the sky. "Where is this water coming from?" they asked each other. Maybe Noah was right. The earth shook and cracked like an egg. The fountains of the deep burst open wide, and the water erupted from under the ground. Noah's frightened neighbors pounded their fists on the ark, begging to be let in. "Open the door, otherwise we'll die." Noah wiped a tear from his eye. He wished with all his heart that his neighbors had put their faith in God. "I warned them about this, but they thought I was crazy," Noah said to his wife. "They didn't believe I was hearing from God, and now it's too late." It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. The flood waters grew higher and higher. Inside the ark, animals were tossed about like clothes in a washing machine. It was so noisy that Noah's family could hardly hear themselves think. Noah poked his head through the window. Water stretched as far as the eye could see. The hills and the valleys had disappeared. The only people alive were his family. Finally, the rain stopped and the fountains of the deep closed. A gentle wind blew over the earth, and the waves became as calm as glass. Everything was very quiet. Noah and his family peered through the window at the muddy waters below. It was as though the whole earth had vanished beneath them. They thanked God for keeping them safe. "It feels like we've been in this ark forever," sighed Shem. "When do you think the water will disappear?" Noah smiled at his son. "Don't worry," he said. "God hasn't forgotten about us. Just have faith. He will sort things out." Every day, Noah's family stared out the window to see if the water had disappeared. But every morning the water still lapped against the sides of the ark. One day, as Noah and his family ate breakfast, they saw a piece of rock in the distance. "The water must be going down," cried Noah, pointing to the rock. "What?" Shem said as he and Ham rushed over to the window and stared at the dark, rocky mound. They almost couldn't believe their eyes. "It's true! God really hasn't forgotten about us." A few months later, the ark came back to rest on the mountain of Ararat. Noah chose a large black bird called a raven and sent it out from the ark. It flew back and forth, waiting for the water to dry up from the earth. Noah grew tired of waiting for the raven to come back, so he sent a dove next. The dove couldn't find any place to rest. It flew straight back to the ark, where it knew there was plenty of food. Noah waited another 7 days and then sent the dove again. This time, the bird came back with a freshly plucked olive leaf. Noah's eyes lit up. "This means the water has finally gone down," he cried. He sent the dove out once more, and this time it never returned. Noah and his sons opened up the door of the ark. They stared at their new home in amazement. "The soil looks dry," said Japheth, grinning at his mother. Noah's wife clapped her hands. She thanked God with all her heart for saving her family. She couldn't wait to make everyone a proper meal. God said to Noah, "Take your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives, and leave the ark. Bring all the animals and birds with you." Noah and his family looked nervously at each other. They were happy to leave the boat, but the flood had destroyed everything. How would they live in this strange new land? Scrambling to their feet, the animals yawned and stretched their legs. They had been on the boat for a long time, and they couldn't wait to roll around in the fresh green grass. One by one, they trotted down the ramp and out into the midday sun. Noah wanted to thank God for keeping his family safe through the flood. He gathered a pile of rocks and built a stone altar. Then he took one of each clean bird and animal and made an offering to God. God was pleased that Noah had obeyed him through this big adventure. He said to himself, "Never again will I curse the earth like this or destroy every living thing. As long as the earth is here, seasons will come and go, and day and night will never stop." God blessed Noah and his son, saying, "Noah, have lots of children so your descendants will fill the earth." Noah smiled. He liked the idea of having a large family. He planted a vineyard to celebrate. God had a promise for Noah and his descendants. He said, "I promise to never again destroy all the living things with a flood. As a sign that I keep my promises, I will put a rainbow in the sky." Noah and his family were happy. They were ready to trust God completely. God's words last forever, and from now on, whenever you see a rainbow in the sky, just remember, He always keeps His promises.
How many animals must have been on Noah's Ark? That's so true, Jacob. I know that the Bible tells us that it was more than 2 by 2, right? Wasn't it like 7? I think the number was 7. You're right. Yeah. Sarah, what do you like for animals? What are your favorite animals? My favorite animals, of course, are cats. And I love lions and tigers and horses. Me too. Hi, buddy. Wow, you're so cute. Come here. Wait, come here. Can I say hi to you? Oh, I guess he didn't like me. Well, we do, Jacob. It's okay. Look at the koala bears. And look over there, monkeys. Oh. Jake, look. It's billy goats. Come here, you guys. Come say hi. Hey, he looks like a ram with those horns. Oh, look at the baby goat, Amy. Oh, he's so cute. Dear, did you see the deer? I did. Wow. Sometimes goats don't like us. They're afraid. Hi, Mr. Goat. Oh, see, they're turning their backs. Isn't that interesting? Oh, look at the puppy. Oh, and there's some more monkeys. Look at the beautiful zebras. Oh, wow. Mommy, this is so much fun. But how does it answer the question about whether or not animals go to heaven?
Do you think God would have rescued all those animals on the ark if animals weren't important?
I guess not.
I've asked Auntie Crystal to come over so that she can share her story that will answer that question as well.
Hi, buddy. Quack, quack. Come here, little duckies. They look like they're having so much fun. Don't they? I wish we all took baths like that. Me too. Oh, and they have nice hippos. Oh, a little baby one. And a baby elephant too. Oh, so cute. Oh, what is that? Is that a longhorn? A Texas longhorn? Oh, he's pretty scary. I think he's scared of me. Wow. I don't know what you are, but you're pretty. Okay, bye. Well, I guess we're leaving now. Oh, look. Look, Amy, it's a peacock. Oh, wow, he's so pretty. Hi, Auntie Crystal.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
I'm so good, Auntie. Mommy took us to a place where so many animals were. And you know what?
What?
They're from Hollywood.
What? That
Yes.
is so cool.
It was amazing to see them all.
Oh, I'm so glad you had fun. That's awesome.
Me too. What's your favorite animal?
Well, I love cats.
I should have known.
Yeah. Have I ever told you the story of Abby?
I don't think so.
Well, would Would you like to hear it?
Yes, please.
Oh, it's a God story, so I love it whenever I get to tell it. It's really special to me because it was the day that God called out Abby by name.
He did?
He sure did.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Oh, yes, it's so exciting. You know, I had Rosin for 5 years, and so I thought that I needed to find a friend or a brother for Rosin. And so for a whole year, I had searched shelters to find the perfect brother for Rosin. My mom and I tried 8 different times.
Wow.
And 8 different times, it didn't work out. And so whenever I was in Israel, I had found the perfect cat that I wanted to get for Rosin. And I even called and talked to the people and said that I would be back in 3 days and to please hold this special kitty for Rosin.
That's happened when you were in Israel?
Yes, this would have been my 9th try, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't my mommy go to Israel?
Yes, she sure did. So I went and drove 3 hours to this shelter to go and get this cat.
Wow.
Yeah, it was in North Carolina. And so I drove the 3 hours, I got there, and they said that it had just been adopted the day before.
You mean adopted by somebody else?
Adopted by somebody else.
No.
Yes, and
After
so...
driving 3 hours?
Exactly, so then I had to drive 3 hours back without a brother. Anyways, on the way back, we found another one that was so beautiful. It was a blue Maine Coon, and it was beautiful. And my mom was like, that's the one we want to get. And I was like, okay. And it was 3 hours a different way. And again, the 10th time, it had just been, yes, it had just been adopted just an hour before we got there.
What?
Yes.
That's just not right.
It's
Auntie.
not right. I know. We were so sad. Yeah, we were so sad that we just said that we gave up because it was our 10th time, and it was just, I was getting sad every time that happened. Yeah.
I'm getting sad just hearing
I
this
know,
story.
right? Thank you. You're so sweet. So the 10th time they said it had just been adopted, and we were like, I guess it's just not meant to be. Rosin's just meant to be by himself, and so we're like, okay, we give up. We're not going to try anymore because I was just so sad. My brother-in-law called and was like, Chris, do you know that there is a Maine Coon cattery that's just an hour away? And so we called the lady, and we got there 3 days later, and we saw the most beautiful cats. We fell in love with them, and I saw the perfect one that I wanted. It was a silver, white, and gray one. That's the one I want. I want one just like that. And she goes, we're about to have, we have a mom that's name is Faith, and a dad that's name is Gabriel. And I went and I saw the dad, and he was beautiful. He was just what I wanted. He was white, gray, and silver. And I said, that's the one I want. I want it from his litter. And their name was Faith and Gabriel.
Isn't Gabriel the angel?
Yes, you are right. That's why I also picked it, right? So we waited and waited, and then on February 28th, I was waking up, and I think this was the day that Faith was supposed to have her litter. And I was waking up, so I was in that stage of being half awake, half asleep, and I heard the Holy Ghost say, Abraham. And I said, Abraham? I was like, but I already have a name picked out. 30 minutes later, I get a text from Miss Rhonda, which is the lady that has the kitties, and she said, choose from these two silver, white, and black tabbies. And she showed me 2 pictures, and it was Solomon and Abraham.
Oh, no, that's incredible.
So incredible, yes.
Wow.
So everyone that meets them loves them. They are just the most friendly, loving. They go out of their way just to love on people and love on children. Rosin, whenever I got him, I needed a service animal. I chose a cat to be my emotional support animal. Like Maine Coons, they're really good for service animals and really good for extra love or that need a companion. Because Maine Coons are the cat or the dogs of the cat world.
Yeah, because they're so big. They're bigger than me.
They're huge.
Wow.
Yeah. So Rosin was my emotional support animal for many years, and he had all his papers, and he got to go to all kinds of service animal events, and he's really good with other animals, and like I said, he loves people. And so I knew that that's the kind of cat that I wanted to get, and that's what I got in AB as well.
That's such such an incredible story.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that with me.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I got to share it.
Auntie?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know if animals go to heaven or not?
You know, that's a really good question. And let me explain it to you like this. I really believe that animals do go to heaven because of the way God talks about them in the Bible. That they are so important to him that he saved them on Noah's Ark, right?
Oh, that's true. We just heard that story today.
And what is Jesus called in the Bible?
He's called the Lion and the Lamb.
Yes, he's the Lion of Judah and he's the Lamb of God, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And also, I believe it because he called Abraham by name, right? My Abby by name. In the Bible, it says that on the new heaven and new earth, that animals are going to eat together, that there's going to be no fighting, that there's going to be just peace and love between the animals, where the ones that you would never think would be side by side, they're going to be side by side in the new heaven and the new earth.
Sometimes we see it here too, because we see a mouse with a kitty cat, or a deer with a lion.
Yeah.
That's amazing when we see it here, so I can only imagine that it'll be like that in heaven.
And you know, that's only God, right?
That's the goodness of God.
That absolutely the goodness of God.
Oh,
So to answer your question, yes, I do believe that animals go to heaven when they die.
that makes me so happy.
Me too. And I'm sure it makes a lot of people happy because animals make us so happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
What a great question.
What a great story.
Thank
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Boys and girls, I sure hope you enjoyed learning about the fact that, like Auntie Crystal told us, that animals will be in heaven, and that God shows us so much about how he loves animals just like we do. So always remember, fetch the goodness. Bye. Mwah.
It's time to go. Thank you for watching The Amy Show, learning about the goodness of God and all the things that Jesus taught. Isn't it fun?